As Christ's followers, when we find ourselves suffering from distress and depression, and we're hoping and waiting on the promise of God, we're encouraged to bring all of our raw complaints, all of our questions to God through prayers of lament. As Christ's followers, when we're waiting and we're hoping, and in that hope and waiting, we find ourselves in the dark, we're encouraged to bring all of that to God through lament. So with the time I have, I want to talk and unpack lament. What does it mean to lament before God? The word lament means in Hebrew to wail, to cry out, to have sorrow, deep expressed sorrow, lament. And I've come to understand that the right response for us as Christ's followers, when we are grieving, when we are suffering, when we are in the dark, is lament. It is the emotionally, spiritually mature response for us to lament. 2/3 of the Psalms are laments, complaints to God. God grieved in Genesis for having created humanity. David wrote poetry after the death of Saul and his best friend Jonathan, commanding his army to sing a song of lament to God. Jesus wept over Lazarus and cried out in grief over Jerusalem. So even Jesus as our model of lamenting and crying out, we have plenty of examples, instruction, and teaching of what it means to lament. But why don't we? We avoid lament. Yet God, in his wisdom, has called us to bring those petitions and complaints to him. So, yes, there is a time to praise, and there's a time to lament. The writer of Ecclesiastes says there's a time for everything. A time for everything. There's a time. So to have a theology of celebration at the cost of a theology of suffering and lament is incomplete. The intersection of the two threads provides the opportunity to engage in the fullness of the gospel. Lament and praise should go hand in hand. When was the last time you lamented? When was the last time you brought your complaint? You brought your question. You brought your doubting to God. See, that's the beauty of this. This is the beauty of lamenting.